Also, the other day I went clearance yarn shopping and I got this really cool big twist ribbon yarn, and I ended up making a project with it. I'll show you what I did, but I also want to do a quick review on the yarn. Okay. Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. My name's Felicia, and I'm going to show you what I ended up doing with this big twist yarn that I picked up from Joann's Fabric when I went and shopped their clearance yarn section. Now, I really wanted to do a full review on this yarn because I thought it was going to be great and I really liked it. But as I did my research, I found that this yarn has actually discontinued. So I didn't want to do a standalone video just discussing the yarn since it may be difficult to find being that it is discontinued. But I will say quickly that this was a really nice bulky yarn. I love the fact that it's soft, and I actually like the colorways that they had available at my store. So if you happen to come across this yarn, go ahead and grab as many skeins as you can because you can create a really cool hat, scarf, cowl like what I did, or if you get enough skeins, you can even make yourself a blanket. Now the cool thing about this yarn is it is flat like a ribbon, and unlike the other roving yarns that I have used before, it kind of stays pulled together. Usually when you use a roving yarn, it's not, the fibers aren't twisted together, so it just feels like it's not as durable. This yarn was not that at all. It felt very durable, and I love the bulky feel of it. So I'm not sure if they're ever going to bring it back or if you can get your hands on a dupe, but if you can, go ahead and pick it up. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what I created with this. Since I bought the yarn, I needed to create something with it. So I decided to create a cowl. I did use a 25mm crochet hook. This is huge, but the benefits are the project is going to work up really quickly. So first thing you're going to do is you're going to make yourself a slip knot and place that on your ginormous crochet hook. Now the cool thing also about this yarn, guys, is you can make projects with your fingers. You don't actually even have to have a hook. I don't show you that here, but with bulky yarn like this, you can actually make full projects just using your hand. Okay, so anyway, let's go ahead and start by making ourselves a foundation chain in 6. So a foundation chain of 6. So yarn over and then pull through. And I'm holding the hook in a standard crochet fashion here, but I switch it up because this hook being so large, it was just easier for me to just make it work as opposed to keeping the technique what I'm used to when I'm using a standard size crochet hook. Okay. This project works up really quickly, guys, because it's a cowl. So these are something that if you want to keep in mind for doing like craft fairs or gifts, these are the type of projects you want to look for. Once you have 6 chains created, we're going to go ahead and start by making our first row of single crochet stitches. So you can see there on the screen. You're going to yarn over and pull through the bottom 2 loops. So I did them in sections. It's like I say, this yarn is bulky and this hook is very large. So again, just go ahead and do single crochet stitches in every stitch across. And at this, once you're there, you'll have 5 stitches completed. Okay. And I think what I'm going to do here, just speed this up just a little bit so that we're not on camera forever. Just going to make a single crochet in every stitch across. Okay, so here we have 4 stitches completed. We're going to do one more, making sure that we get 5 in the row. And I'm only staying on camera just as we transition between the rows, because really you're just going to do single crochet stitches and double crochet stitches to create this. So it's not a difficult pattern at all. So here's your first row. I'm sorry, I misspoke. You're going to do a single crochet in the back loop only for row 2, and I'll show you what I did here. And because this is so chunky, I'm gonna be honest, guys, you don't even have to do this back loop only. I thought when I was creating the project, it would create a really cool little texture to it. But you can see it up close, but you can't really see it from a distance. So if you don't want to do single crochet in the back loop only, then don't do that. Just go ahead and continue doing single crochet for this one, going straight through the stitch. So that's the back loop only there, and we're just doing single crochets in the back loop only for row 2. But like I said, again, it doesn't really add the contrast that I thought it would because the yarn is so bulky. So if you're following the pattern, if you want to just continue doing single crochet stitches, that would work fine too. Okay. And I'm only saying on camera just because we changed the pattern a bit here, and I wanted to make sure you understood what I was doing. Okay, we're moving on to row 3. So at this point, you're going to do a chain of 2 and then turn your work. And then we're going to just do double crochet stitches across the row and then every subsequent row until we change the pattern again. So I'm going to stay on camera just for this row here to get us started. But again, we're just doing double crochet stitches across the row. And I really, really enjoyed working with this yarn, even though it's discontinued. It just was a nice yarn. It was a nice bulky yarn that didn't feel too heavy. It was awkward using this large crochet hook, I'm not going to lie about that, but the yarn itself was actually really nice. All right, I'm going to speed up a little bit here so we can get through this row. And actually, after this row here, you're going to do double crochet stitches all the way until you get to row 16. So, all right. So at the end of the row, you're going to chain 2 and turn your work, and then you're going to do 5 more double crochet stitches in each row until you get to row 16. And I counted the chain of 2 as the first double crochet. But you don't have to do that. It's up to you however you want to do it. But I did do a chain of 2, and the chain of 2 counted as my first double crochet in the row. So we're now on row 4. Continue doing this until you get to row 15. And I will only stay on camera to finish row 4, and then after that we'll come back when we get to row 15. Actually, row 16. And again, guys, you can use any bulky yarn. You do not have to, because if you can't find this one, obviously, you can use any bulky yarn to get this project completed. All right, so just go ahead and keep working until you get to row 15. I popped back on real quick to show you how to add yarn. Again, this was only a 16.5 inch yards of yarn, so it's obviously going to end pretty quickly. So you want to go ahead and add yarn. In this case, all I'm going to do, and honestly, you probably could have just tied the yarn together, but this is just as easy as well too. Go ahead and begin to make your double crochet stitch with the little yarn you have left. And you see that I don't have enough to finish that double crochet, so I'm going to go ahead and attach the new yarn and then just continue doing my double crochet stitch. So just pull through the top 2 and then yarn over with the new yarn that's attached to the new skein and finish your double crochet. Okay, so that's pretty much how you would add yarn with this project, and because we're using the same color, it just all blends so nicely. And I'll show you once I finish off this row what we do with those tails so that you're clear for the other skein. So remember, I used 3 skeins to complete this project. All right. Alrighty. Okay, first things first is you don't have to address the tails while you're in the middle of the project. I'm just going to show you so that you know how to do it. I'm just tying them together, making a little knot at the in there. This is such bulky yarn that you really cannot feel it. I'm using my fingers to just kind of weave in the tails in between the stitches. So it's not anything complicated. You just want to kind of bury that tail in so that you can't see it. And then once you have it buried in enough, you can just cut the excess if you need to. So bulky yarn is sometimes a little complicated when you're very new at crocheting, but it's also very forgiving when you're creating projects. So I always recommend bulky yarn, even though there is a challenge there, but the end product always turns out a little bit nicer when you're new to crocheting. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing with the other tail. So anyway, at this point, just continue working until you get to row 15, and then I have another quick little change in the pattern to just make everything kind of come together. Okay, so as you can see here, I have gotten to the end of row 15. I've went all the way across with my 5 double crochet stitches, and as you can see here, I have marked off 3 stitches. Okay, so now we've made it to row 16, and I'm going to change the pattern up just a little bit here. So go ahead and start this with your double crochet stitch. And as you can tell here on the screen, I have 3 stitch markers. I probably should have did 2 in one color and 1 in another, but this section right here where the stitch markers lie, that's where we're going to have a change in the pattern. So we've done our double crochet. Now we're going to chain 2. We're going to skip 2. And in the 3rd space over, that right there, we're going to do our double crochet. So we've done a double crochet, skip 2, chain 2, and we're going to complete 2 double crochets here at the end, which is going to allow for there to be a nice little open section in the middle of our cowl, which is going to allow for our cowl to close. Okay, so just do 1 more double crochet there at the end. You still have a total of 5 stitch areas, but we're only creating 3 double crochets in this row, meaning that we skip 2 and we did the chain of 2 to symbolize the skip. See? So now we have an open space there, and that's going to allow for our, again, our cowl to close. So then for the next row, which is now row 17, you're going to just do your double crochets like normal, but when you get to the chain 2 space, you're going to do 2 double crochets in that space. So I'll show you. Okay. And then right there in that open space there, you're going to just do 2 double crochets right on top of that space or right through that space. Okay, and 1 more. Just kind of move your stitch over, make sure it fits. Slide it over. All right. All right. And so we're here kind of towards the end of the project. We have done everything, but we need to kind of mimic what we did in the first part of the project at the end of the project. So at this point, you're now at row 18. You're going to do a chain of 1, turn your work, and you're going to do a row of single crochet stitches. Okay. At the end of this row, you're going to chain 1 and turn your work. And then we're going to do single crochets in the back loop only. So again, in the beginning of the project, if you did not do the back loop only, because I told you that it really didn't make too big of a difference in the pattern, you wouldn't do back loop only here. You would only do single crochet. So whatever you did at the start of the project, do the same thing on these last 3 rows at the end of the project, okay? So in my case, because I did do back loop only, I'm going to do a back loop only in row 19. So we're going to do back loop only in row 19. So again, the back loop only stitch is just that one in the, you have a V, so it's towards the back of the V. It's such a pretty day here. All right. I didn't realize I stayed on camera this long, so this is a really thorough tutorial. Okay, so again, you're doing 5 single crochets in the back loop only. Once you get to the end of this row, you're going to just do 1 more row of single crochet stitches. So you'll chain 1, turn your work, and do 1 more row of single crochet stitches, which I'm pretty sure I stay on camera for. All right, this is row 20, final row. And again, we're going to just do a row of single crochet stitches. So I'm going to speed through this because you pretty much have this all the way down, I'm sure. All right, we're getting here to the very end. Your project is pretty much completed. So once you finish this off, you're going to just, actually, I'll just show you. We've gotten this far. We've gotten this far together. I'll show you how to end it. Okay, this is our last stitch. Just go ahead and take your crochet hook off. And this is what it looks like. It was really simple. Alright, so I'm just going to go ahead and feed my end of the yarn through that loop there to kind of finish off the row. And you have options here. If you have enough yarn and you want to create a little border around the scarf to even out the edges, you can. So this is what it'll look like if you decide to do that. Honestly, I started to do it. I have a whole nother skein of yarn. I was going to go ahead and complete it. But it just wasn't necessary. When I put it on, it didn't need it because of the bulkiness of the yarn, the color of the yarn, the softness. You just didn't pay attention to the edging. But if I were going to sell this or even maybe give it away as a gift, then I might add this little fine detail. Use a smaller crochet hook and then just do slip stitches along the side using the yarn. Now again, this is a limited yarn. I didn't get that many skeins, so I think 2 skeins would allow you to go around the entire scarf. But this is what I did with the excess yarn. I just started the process of doing a border to kind of make everything look really pretty and smooth. And again, if I were going to gift this or anything, sell it, I would definitely recommend doing this step here. As you can see, I'm showing you, I'm getting you started on it. But as I was working this, I realized, yeah, Felicia, you're probably just going to wear this to one of your kids' sporting events. You don't have to do this last step, but I do recommend it if you're going to gift it because it makes everything look really, really neat and put together. And it doesn't take long, okay? So you would just find a stitch along the side, insert your crochet hook, pull through, and then pull through. And that's how I did my, my slip stitch. Yep. See how it looks. So I'll show you what it looks like on the mannequin. Again, it's just now getting cool here, so I will probably put some pictures of me wearing this project over on my Instagram once it gets a little bit colder here in Florida. It's just hot. I would look crazy outside with the chunky scarf on right now. So I'll show you what it looks like on my mannequin. If you guys have any questions, please leave them down in the comment section, and then follow me on Instagram if you want to see how it looks when I finally start to style it for my winter months here. All right, have a wonderful day. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.